All right. So know thyself. Aristotle there, of course, there's tons of quotes out there about knowing yourself, conquering the world. You have to conquer yourself before you can conquer the world. So we're going to dive into that, and a lot of this is going to be questions. I can't tell you who you are, so you're going to have to ask yourself these questions. And also for visual entertainment, AI generated all the images, so have fun with those. You guys can look for all the AI Easter eggs and the images of all the extras, fingers and random limbs. um, all right, so let's get going. Know thyself. Uh, so here, everything begins within. Um, the company is made up of a team. A team is made up of people. People, you can't exist without what's inside you. So inside your body, your health, your mind, your emotions, your soul, everything. Um, I, as a manager, I will admit, and I will blatantly put it out there from a selfish standpoint, I want each of you to be your best. Because when you guys are your best, you deliver your best. Um, and I know that there are so much bigger, greater, amazing things that we can all do together, but it takes each of us are a component in building that empire, that dream. And so each component, we're only as strong as our weakest link, right? So I need all of you at your best so that we can build this amazing thing. I need each of you believing in yourselves, and to actually realize how powerful and amazing you are. And together, when there's a whole bunch of powerful, amazing people working together towards the same goal, we can accomplish great things. And this is where I want you guys to know how much I believe in you. And that's why you're even here today, because I think each one of you is important. And I can see what you're capable of, and I can see how amazing you are. And I just need each of you to believe that. So to believe in yourself as much as I do, and even more so. And I'm hoping with this presentation that you guys can learn yourselves and learn who you are and be confident in who you are, because here at this company we welcome the weirdos. We want you to be weird, we want you to be creative. It just makes us all the more better. So this is what we're going to dive into. We are going to talk about, first off, self-care. And I 100% mean this message. Put yourself first and never fucking apologize for it. You you have to take care of yourself, because you cannot you cannot take care of others unless you take care of yourself. And in order to be on a team and help your team, you have to be taken care of. And so always putting yourself first, right? And this is why we're so big on take the time you need to take. If you're having a rough day, take a break. If it's a rough week, take a weekend off, a couple days, whatever you need to get yourself right, to get yourself back to healthy. If you're sick, take it off. You are the only person who can actually truly take care of yourself. So prioritize yourself. And we're actually going to dive into these components of, first and foremost, exercise. I know some of you guys have, like Jules has her walking pad. I have my aero ski. If you guys go for walks, movement is life. In nature, if an animal stays still for too long, a predator will kill it. For humans, that predator is a whole bunch of different diseases and physical ailments. So one of the main preventative actions that you can take is to move and to avoid those predators. So work up to more and more movement every single day. I love to listen to music. It's a break mentally for me. So what I will do is When I started my adding in exercise into my daily routine was to start with one song and exercise for that one. Yeah, this is basically a bunch of drunk teammates here. Um, so yeah, so listen to one song and then call it. You don't need to exert yourself, just move. And so after time, you'll notice in a week or two, do it for two songs and just build up. But whatever you do, just keep moving, keep going, make it a habit. And it gets to the point where you crave it. So I now have this craving for movement and music in between meetings and all of my other responsibilities. So just make movement part of your life. This AI photo was hilarious because I asked for healthy food and it snuck a cheeseburger in there. So um, so with food, quality over quantity. Um, and the higher quality food you eat, yes, it's going to cost more. You're probably going to live longer. I highly recommend organic and natural wherever possible. I actually used to work at a chemical company that made all the chemicals that got sprayed onto food crops. Um, that shit is lethal. I saw the studies, I saw the data. It's how you make sausage is very ugly. Um, but these chemicals that they spray on crops and food, they spray it in amounts that don't kill you right away, but it does build up and can build up in your body every single time you eat. So this is why I recommend organic, even better if you can get chemical free where possible. Like on my ranch, we're working towards self-sufficiency of being able to grow our own food that I know doesn't have anything but water sprayed on it. So healthy as possible, quality where possible. I know it gets expensive. Root vegetables, if anything, if you can't afford anything organic, the one thing is root vegetables. So roots are meant for storing things, meaning they can store all those chemicals. So like carrots, potatoes, all of that. So if you can't afford everything organic, buy your root vegetables organic. Anything that grows underground. So eat real food, food that is grown, hasn't been processed, whole fruits, vegetables, not Pop Tarts and pizza sauce. Eat actual strawberries, actual tomatoes. Learn to make your own foods from scratch using healthy ingredients. So you can just eat better. Life thrives on diversity, right? So we know this in work cultures. We see this in nature. A mass amount of a single thing is bad. So and boring. This also applies to food. So more colors, more flavors, more varieties is so much more healthy for you than single mono diets. Certain combinations of food can actually be healthier. So tomatoes and olive oil, rice and beans, eggs and cheese, mix it up. Um, and this also isn't about denying yourself sweets and treats, which is why I found this image so hilarious because it snuck a cheeseburger in there. It's okay. It's okay to have those treats, those things you crave, the things you want. The key is balance. So in everything, moderation. So balance healthy, good food, and then your sweets and treats. I personally love chocolate. I buy specialty chocolates. I, in moderation, will have one or two chocolates a day. So just some insights there on food recommendations. Next is hydration. This should have been first because water is life. Find a way that makes drinking water more enjoyable for you. I love drinking from a straw. Fuck the turtles. It's my life or theirs, right? So I have a fairly high self-preservation drive. I'm going to use my goddamn straw. Um, so what I did is I got myself a tumbler with a straw, and I actually drink 4 times as much water per day because of it. So find how you'll find a way to motivate yourself to drink more water because it makes a difference. I find, I sleep better, I feel better. Hydration is everything. You can't live without it. So just drink more. If ever you don't know the answer, drink more. Water, just water. This image is hilarious. The more you look at it, the more disturbing it gets. We all need sleep and rest. So rest is the next thing. And the other thing is that there's different types of rest: physical, emotional, sensory, mental, social. So there's lots of ways to rest. We all need sleep rest, and 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 we each have unique needs. Like I personally need 9 hours of sleep, so I sleep a lot. Um, and I need a ton of social rest because I'm an introvert and I recognize that. And I need like 5 to 10 days of social rest after I do something with a ton of people involved. And the more people there are, the more rest I need. Because frankly, people are exhausting to me. And so that's where I know if I'm going to a social event to then plan in rest the following days into my schedule. I also need sensory rest. If ever you are in a loud, colorful, crowded environment, that can also be draining as an introvert. I know you extroverts are all probably rolling your eyes. Um, I find I also get overwhelmed by taste. So in my diet, I moderate my food and I try to keep it more neutral and I eat better that way. So the whole key is to learn yourself and adapt your life to meet your needs. So learning thyself, so learning what you like and don't like, and then making it part of your life is the key point there. So this is where we're going to get into know who you are. Self-awareness, not living your life based on other people's opinions of who you should be, how you should live your life. And so in this section, we're just going to dive into this thoughts, feelings, actions. You are so much more capable than you probably actually realize. And I'm hoping that through this presentation, we can kind of work through some things and show you some examples of thinking through things so that you can start to see that more. And you may already know it and just build on that. So um, one of the most important things you can do is learn how to control your thoughts and listen to your intuition. And if you can do those things, you are unstoppable. Uh, and and the key is just learning to listen and pay attention to yourself. So here, thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to actions, actions lead to results. You are the only person in control of your life. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to just hand you the life that you want. Sorry, Meg, if you want to be a princess, you got to make it happen. So, yeah, I know it's rough, right? Everything starts in your head. So your thoughts control everything about you. And if you can't control yourself, how are you supposed to take control of anything else in your life? So with that, I that's right. Just make it up in your head. Just believe you're a princess. So we're going to dive into this, right? So first, to be able to control your thoughts, you have to be able to identify them. Um, I always thought meditation was one of the dumbest things ever. I just rolled my eyes at it. And it wasn't until I actually started trying it that I realized how chaotic and out of control my mind was. Because I couldn't go more than a second without just being overwhelmed inside my own head. And with meditation, and that's where I recognized the value of it, was with meditation, I was actually able to calm and quiet my mind with practice. A whole ton of, I mean, this took years, a whole lot of practice, and then being able to refocus my mind onto the thing that I wanted to think about. So not just the nonsense, jibber jabber, crashing around in my head, but actually being able to quiet it, focus it on the thing that I want to think about. Then I could figure out what I wanted, how I was going to get it. So once I was able to do that, I was able to accomplish so much more and go so much farther in my life once I was able to do that. So I could focus on a problem. Once I figured out the problem, then I could think through solutions. Once I had solutions, I could then run through scenarios. And you guys hear me talk about that, what could possibly go wrong game, right? So then I run through scenarios of, if I take this action, what could possibly go wrong? Okay, all these things could go wrong. Okay, I definitely don't want to do that. But it took me being able to control my mind to focus on and think through those things. So that ties into this morning with John talking about focus. So that's why it's so important. Once you do that, you can more easily work towards your goals in life. So truly life changing there. I used to shit on meditation and now I love it. It's so great. I highly recommend it. Just because your thoughts control everything else in your life. So control your thoughts. Okay, so this is going to be a little exercise for you guys. You guys can all post in the chat, share. Think of something that excites you, something you really want to do, try, or buy. Think of the first 1, 2, or 3 things. Okay, you guys got something? Anybody want to share? Post in chat. A vacation? Yeah, seriously, you just got back from one. Oh, solo trip. That's brave. A horse. Yes, right. Horse. Yep. Fantasy art. Oh, fantastic. Oh, skydiving. Cello, you're brave. That's one thing. I'm terrified of skydiving. Oh, yeah, the election. All right. So think of something that excites you, you really want to do, try, or buy. All right. So skydiving. Okay. I'm going to take that one because it's a total fear of mine. Cello and I. What are the reasons you haven't done it yet? Okay. So go ahead and write them all down. So pick one thing and then write down all the reasons you haven't done them. You haven't done it, that thing. You haven't done it yet. I know everybody's saying no money. Skydiving, I don't want to die. So that's my reason for not skydiving. Can you take your dog skydiving with you? Sure, they'll thank you later. Okay, so now that you guys have reasons for why you haven't done something yet, how many of the reasons had the words I don't, I can't, I won't, I'm not, I'm too, I'm never, and I shouldn't? Right? How many of them? Count them. How many had I don't have the money? I don't have the time. I can't do that well. I can't because of blank. I'm too poor. Or if you're Grem, I'm too short. So I'm not good at it. I never win. I never get chosen. I'm not the best. I shouldn't because it will disappoint my mom. I shouldn't because people in public will think I'm weird. So write down all of these reasons that stop you from doing, buying, trying, or doing that thing that you want. Okay. How many say I don't, I can't, I won't, I'm not? Okay. Next. This is a real world example of you stopping yourself from being awesome. And I want you to knock that shit off right now. Okay. You need to be fabulous. And the point of all of this is that the only limits we have are the limits we believe. So, totally mind blowing shit right here that you are the only reason you are not doing, trying, or buying that thing. You are the only person denying yourself from doing, trying, or buying that thing that you want. No one else, nobody else. It's you. You are stopping you from being fabulous. And this is where we get into talking about self-limiting beliefs and how you are getting in the way of yourself. So if ever you catch yourself, and this is where being meditation and being mindful, because you learn to listen to your thoughts for these words. Every time you say, I can't figure this out, I'm not smart enough, I don't know this, no one taught me. You are choosing to not figure it out. You are choosing to be dumb. You are choosing to not know it, and you are choosing to not learn it. You are the problem, and you can be your own solution, is the key point and takeaway from this. This isn't to self-shame. This is to take ownership of your life. And if you actually really wanted to do that one thing, you would actually do it. And it's getting you to get over yourself. So picking one of these self-limiting reasons, ask yourself, why do you think that? So if you say, I have no money, okay, why do you think that you have no money? Well, my job doesn't pay me enough. My income is too low. I don't have, so you can make up all of these reasons for why do you think that. And what you actually end up doing is you can think through these, and we're going to get to this in the next one, is you can think through these to find the solutions to, I'm too poor. I don't know how to do that, right? So this is where we get into, do you actually agree with that thinking? Do you want to continue thinking that way? So this is how you can become very intentional with your thoughts. You can choose to continue thinking that thought. So do you agree with it, right? Am I too poor? You could say, I'm poor now, but I want to change this. So I am going to do X, Y, and Z to make more money to then get that thing. So this is where your thoughts control your actions. So do you agree with the thinking, and do you want to continue thinking that way? Choose to think that thought or not, and be in control of your thoughts. Okay. Does this make sense to everybody? Are you all going to get richer now? Um, I don't know that Graham can get taller, so sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It's when, I mean, you could wear high heels. There is literally a solution for everything except death, I guess. Yeah, so just go get some platform shoes or something. You could be fabulous with the unicorn. Um, okay, so we're gonna go back. Let's think back to the things that excite you and why you haven't done it yet. So go back to your list of things that excite you, why you haven't done it yet. How many involved for the reasons why you haven't done it? How many involved somebody else's opinion or judgment? How many involved parents, spouses, kids, friends, teams, church, public? How many reasons were related to other people? Okay. Do you actually care what they think? So this is something that I constantly personally am working on, where I was raised in an environment where everything was based on what other people thought. Um, and it was to be submissive and quiet and not attract attention and all of that. And it came to the realization of, do I care? Do I care what they think? Um, if you accept a limiting belief, whether it's one you assigned to yourself or something someone else gave you, if you accept a limiting belief, even if it is not true, it will become truth for you. What you think, you become. So this gets into, do you want to live your life based on other people's opinions? Or do you want to live your own life, make your own decisions, and choose for yourself, right? And Hannah and I have had some discussions around this. And the one thing I asked her was, did you die? Right? If you're going to make a decision, do you care? Will you die? Will I know I just saw it in Slack the other day and I'm like, oh, that's perfect. So I grabbed it. Will doing the thing kill you? No. Okay, 1 point towards doing the thing. Will doing the thing cause you to lose a limb? Right, Hannah? I know. Do you use this now all the time? It's my everyday. I'm like, will I die? Every time I ride my horse, I'm like, will I die? Will you lose a limb or a body part? Okay. Will it irreversibly alter your relationship with someone? Do you care if it does? Are they worth living a lie for? So that's the other critical question is if it alters your relationships with someone, do you care? And are they worth it? If they can't accept you for who you are, do you really want them in your life anyways? And so these are some of the questions you have to ask yourself. So always ask questions, Madison. Always ask questions to get the truth, right? So do you care what your parents think about your arm, Madison? Do you really need that arm? Or is that thing more worth it? All right. So next, what you think about grows. Okay. Yeah, I know. I pity the people who listen to our team meetings. It's hilarious. They have no context. Um, so once you learn to control your thoughts and what you're thinking about, what do you think about? So the key here is that what you think about grows. And this applies in both a good way and a bad way. If you focus on how fat you are, you will keep getting fatter. If you focus on eating healthy and getting healthier, you will get healthier. So it's to focus on the positive, it's to focus on what you want. This all ties back to self-limiting beliefs again. If you keep thinking, I'm too fat to exercise, which I told myself at one point, um, I'm too fat to exercise. I'm not going to exercise. And then I'm going to keep getting fatter and not exercising and being less able to exercise. So, right. So, what you focus on grows. If you focus on your waistline is going to grow. So, if you focus on cheeseburgers, you're going to eat more cheeseburgers. Right. Bring your parent to work day. It's great. So, what do you want? This all ties back into the lesson I did back in January when I talked about launching a side hustle. And one of the very first things we talked about was planning your ideal day. What do you want? How can you take what you want, this ideal day, and expand it out into your ideal week, month, year, and life? What do you want your life to be like? And this is what you think about constantly. It becomes an obsession so that everything you do in life is a tiny step in that direction of that life that you want. And it even starts to happen on a subconscious level that your thoughts control your feelings control your actions control your results are your life, what you have, what you do, everything. So thoroughly thinking about what you want, take down notes, revise them, refine them, get very detailed and talk about, you could even talk about a scene in your life that you want to happen. Meg getting married in an Irish castle. Think about it constantly. Whatever you want to happen, focus on, because your everything about your being will start going that direction. In horseback riding, it's this part of horseback riding is looking where you want to go. And your horse is so sensitive to you that when you turn your head, it can feel the slightest shift in your body and the shift in your pelvis and the shift in the weight of your legs, that if you turn your head left, your horse will turn left. And it gets so fine-tuned that you and your horse become one. And that you don't even have to move the reins to tell your horse that you want to turn left or right. Because what you focus on grows, right? What you focus on is where you'll go. So this is where I recommend making a list of 100 goals to start with. And I ask that each of you do this. And you're going to write down things you want to do, try, and buy. I don't care how expensive, wild, crazy, outlandish, insane, write it down. And it becomes very eye-opening about all the things you want to do, try, and buy. And by writing them down, it focuses your mind on them. And keep adding to it. I have a list of like 200 things. And what I'm finding is that I naturally accomplish them. That just by jotting them down, thinking about them, focusing on them, that I do them. And so this is a way to start getting your mind to go that way and think that way and accomplish those things. Next, we're going to talk about our feelings. Internal things tend to be very hard to define and control. It takes a lot of practice. So being mindful, this was a word John used, I believe, this morning, mindful, to notice them, and then intentional about what you do with them. So when it comes to feelings, there are many, many ways of working with feelings. The very, very first thing is to notice them. It is a very healthy thing to experience feelings, as uncomfortable as they may be. And it's okay to sit with those feelings and let them run their course. A lot of times, feelings are indicators for us. It's your body speaking to you. And if we ignore them, it's when it tends to cause issues, that we ignore ourselves and our feelings. And that was our body talking to us. They can be very helpful in identifying our personal boundaries and what we're comfortable with or uneasy with. Usually uncomfortable and uneasy feelings are a sign that somebody hit or exceeded a personal boundary of yours. And the thing that you need to decide is if you want to maintain that boundary or stretch it. So you can be intentional about that boundary, that decision. Don't just disregard it or just accept it, but actually consider it. Be mindful and be intentional about whether you want to maintain that or not. The other mind games you need to be aware of are overinflating and reacting. And these are related to your feelings, but are very, very different. You don't necessarily need them in order to process your feelings in a healthy way, but they happen. So we're going to talk about them. So overinflating is where our minds tend to make up stories. Stories are great. Our entire history as humans has been passed down for centuries and generations because of stories. What stories are not great for is managing feelings. So our minds tend to run a little wild there. And if we don't catch it, we tend to cause ourselves more trouble than we needed to. Usually when we have a feeling, we want to find out why. So why do I feel this way? And when we do this, sometimes our mind will find a why and then start embellishing a story around it on why that happened and why we feel that way. And this can lead to more feelings in additional to the original feelings. And it may not be good for you. So I'm going to give you guys an example here. Say this is somewhat actual event. um, so say I just slacked you and I asked you, did you do this task that I gave to you? And the answer is no. So you reply back to me and you say, no, I got too busy and I didn't do that task. This is where the story starts in your mind, because then it goes silent and you think, she hasn't responded to me on Slack yet. It's been 2 minutes. I don't see any typing bubbles. I wonder if she's angry at me because I didn't complete the task. I know revenue is really low. Oh my God, we might have to do cutbacks on expenses because our revenue is low. I wonder if I'm getting fired because I didn't do this task. Oh my God, I'm going to get fired. I just bought a house. I have a mortgage to pay. How am I going to pay my mortgage? I need to find another job. I need to refresh my resume. I haven't touched it in a while. I should start looking at job boards. What kind of job should I get? I don't know what job I should get. What do I want to do? How am I going to find a job that fits this lifestyle that I now just built, right? There's a recession coming. I'm not going to be able to find a job. Maybe I should start my own company. That's going to take a lot of time and money. I should have started it months ago. Why didn't I start this job months ago? Oh my God, right? So 5 minutes later, Micah slacks you and says, hey, don't worry about that task. We didn't need it anyways. You can delete it. But you just work yourself up into a frenzy about how you were going to get fired because you didn't do this task. Okay. So, total story made up in your mind with a whole lot of unnecessary feelings, got you all worked up, stressed, anxiety, and there was literally no need for it. Okay. So now you can see how your mind took that simple little question, I slacked you, and turned it into this big old fish story, which is the AI image there. So, all right. So this is something to catch yourself when you catch your mind starting to take off with the story, reel it back in and sit with it there, right? So the original was just, oh, okay, I didn't do this task. Okay, that's it. It just needed to stop right there. So just be mindful about that. Next, we're going to get into reacting. This image feels so intense to me. I don't know if you guys feel it too, but it's very uncomfortable. Uh, this is about controlling the things you can and letting go of the things you can't. This is, you can't control what other people do, but you can control how you react to them. And this actions are completely separate than feelings. And this is being mindful of your reactions after you feel a feeling. So this includes taking offense. And the key word here is taking offense. You don't need to be offended by something. Being offended is a choice. And usually it's an unnecessary choice. It serves no one other than your own ego. So that's in when you react to things. Yes, you can have offense. When you react to things, you actually take a step back. So I always recommend take a minute, take a breather, right? So reactions also tie into being considerate of others. As you grow as a person and as you start to master your own thoughts, feelings, and actions, you're going to start noticing other people who may not be in the same place as you. that they're still learning themselves. And this applies heavily to working with a team, right? We're all on different journeys, we're all in different places. None of us are higher, ahead, better. We're just in different places. So other people may still be learning themselves and not quite be in the place to control their reactions. So they may react to things or overinflate things. And this is where that concept of meet people where they are comes into play. And it's about being respectful of other humans and where they are in their journey. That there's no need to automatically assume that they intended to hurt or harm you. That there was no need to take offense. And this is all about you becoming mindful of your own thoughts, feelings, actions. And it makes it easier for you once you start processing this yourself. It makes it easier for you to see others processing this, their own thoughts, their own feelings, and giving them the space that they need to do that. Even if they lash out, don't take it personally. Giving them and granting them the grace and the space to process. And if we all start giving each other more consideration, more grace, and the room to be human, things would be a lot smoother and interacting with each other would be a lot easier. So take this into consideration when you have a feeling, instead of immediately acting out, sit with it and process it. And then decide if that feeling requires a reaction and if you want to react. So be in control of yourself. So speaking of processing feelings, so this is where we talk about feeling it first. Consider that feeling mindfully and then acting intentionally. So unless it's a life-threatening situation, there's usually not a requirement to react in the moment. So give yourself that time to process. And then after processing, start considering the actions you want to take. And I always recommend doing this by asking yourself questions. Why did I feel that way? Is this a previously unrecognized boundary of mine? Do I want to keep this boundary? Do I want to stretch this boundary? Or do I want to get rid of it completely? Because I actually don't agree with it. So being intentional about your life, use your feelings to guide you, since that is their purpose, right? So it's your body, your mind communicating with you. It's another form of communication with yourself. So, all right. Next, self-expression. One of my favorite Rage Against the Machine songs says, "Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me." Uh, authenticity. So this is about having the courage to be yourself. And it's really easy to be yourself on the inside because people can't see it and they can't judge it. So it's really easy to be yourself on the inside. But when you start living authentically, you start living authentically outwardly. And this is when people tend to start judging you and imposing their opinion on your life. Fuck them. It's not their life. And people who do not or haven't grown much as a person tend to be the people who do this the most, because they are living very small lives and they see you living largely, and it's their problem, not yours. But this is where what we just talked about, granting them grace, right? Don't take it personally. Don't, but also don't let them dictate your life to you. You are both in different places. You are not in the same place. You are all on different paths. As you grow and evolve, the pressure from others will increase. And this is something that you, as you're growing, will also be getting stronger and able to see through it. Don't shrink ever, ever, ever. Don't ever let someone else diminish you, especially if you are being who you are. This is your life, and you get to live it to the fullest and be true to yourself. I love the saying from Coco Chanel. Says, I don't care what other people think because I don't think about them at all. And that's the truth. It's not their life. It's not their opinion. It's nothing. They are nothing unless you choose for them to be something and to have weight in your life. So this gets into, I know, fashion and Micah are not a match. Self-expression. In fact, we'll get into that. Next, your appearance, right? So your appearance is your outward expression of who you are. I've absolutely love this photo of this dude. AI nailed it. Be who you are and express that. And if everybody dressed the same and looked the same, you know how fucking boring that would be. So don't be ashamed of who you are. Don't be afraid to show it, flaunt it, live your best life outwardly, right? Um, Next is we're going to get into communication. Uh, Secondly, AI has gotten a lot better with words. So this is great. How we communicate is also a reflection of who we are. Uh, it's part of our personal brand and style. And our communication style should grow as we grow. So learning to communicate better and to communicate completely. Or if you actually did intend, right, and her hands are all fucked up too. If you did intend to use the word stupid face, then use the word stupid face proudly, right? So communication should be a reflection of you. Next, this is the most painful part, I think. Self-responsibility, right? And this was a really hard lesson I had to learn in life. Everything in your life is your own fault. And that applies to both good and bad. Self-responsibility ties in very closely to your thoughts, which leads to your feelings, which leads to your actions. And there are consequences for actions. So if you do choose to go ahead with the doing, trying, and buying, what could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go right? So be in control of your thoughts to be in control of your action. And everything in your life is your own fault. So the beauty of this is that you can control everything in your life and how you react to it and the results of those reactions. So it helps to ask yourself questions as you go through life, because then you can decide how you want to act or react to things. So when it comes to that thing you want to do, try and buy, if I do this thing, will my wife divorce me? Yes. Okay. Do I care? No. Do the fucking thing right after you call a really good divorce attorney. But do the damn thing, right? So this is asking yourself the question, if I wear this crazy outfit, people will stare at me. Do I care? No, then fucking rock that shit. Okay? So instead of moving through life, feeling and reacting to everything, use your thoughts, use your actions to live the life you want to live. And this is we're going to dive into different aspects of self-responsibility. So, backstory here. When I was 21, I was homeless. I lived in my car. I had nothing. Broke. I didn't even have $5 to my name. I literally lived on a loaf of bread every week because that was all I could afford. I was young, I was angry, and I blamed everybody else for the situation that I was in. But it wasn't anybody else's fault for me being homeless. So it wasn't until I took self-responsibility for my situation that I was actually able to change it. Once I did take responsibility for being homeless, I recognized that I was the only one that could change my situation. So I started working towards getting a better job, learning new skills, increasing my income so that I could afford a small apartment and not be homeless anymore. It did take me about a year, but I was able to literally turn my life around. And I went from being homeless, living in my car, to having a home and making over $100,000 a year because I took control of my life. If you do not like your current home situation, you are the only person who can change that. And you need to make the decision to change it, and then you need to take the actions needed to change it. So this applies to everything from where you live, how you live, your lifestyle. You are responsible. Let's get into income, right? So this is always a topic. I'm too poor. Okay. Don't rely on other people to increase your income. Asking for a raise, moving jobs. Ultimately, these do not necessarily serve you because you need to take responsibility of your income. Have multiple income sources. Be in control of those income sources. If you don't like your current income, you are the only person who can change that. You need to make the decision to change that. And then you need to take the actions to change that, right? Are we noticing a trend here? Relationships. Can you repeat it with me? If you don't like your current relationships, you are the only person who can change that. You need to make the decision to change it, and then you need to take the actions needed to change it. Okay? Experiences. If your life is boring, guess whose fault that is? Okay? Pattern, picking up on it. Before, we talked about making a list of goals or things you want to do, try, and buy. Okay? Go back to that list. Make it fucking happen. If you don't like your current boring fucking life, right? Do we know the rest? You are the only one who can change it. Okay? Make the decision to not be boring. Choose to do more than just exist, to do more than just pay your bills. You can choose to have an exciting, amazing life, but nobody is going to do it for you. So take the actions needed to change it. Success overall. Okay? The time is going to pass anyways. So live the life you want or don't. It's your choice. Nobody is too busy. You are not too busy to make this new life happen. You just need to get your priorities straight and put the right things in the right order. You can say no to anything that isn't part of the life you want to have. This guy said no to arm day, but if he's happy, who the fuck cares, right? If you don't like your overall situation in life, you are the only person who can change it. Make the decisions, take the actions, right? So you are in control of your life. Growth, always be changing. If I look back at me in my 20s, total cringe, completely different person. My friends from way back when wouldn't even recognize me today. And that's a good thing because it shows that I'm growing. And it should be the same for you. Always be growing, always be changing for the better. There you go. Multiple personalities. It's a great thing. Optimize what you have, grow it bigger, grow it better. Put in the time to truly learn who you are, what you like, and what you want, and then grow towards that. Growing pains. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I love this saying that says, if it excites you and scares you at the same time, you should probably do it. And I wholeheartedly embrace this almost on a weekly basis and scare the shit out of myself and do crazy things. And it's amazing. Um, it's kind of like working through levels of a video game that until you beat that that level's boss, you can't go any further, right? So it's time to slay the dragon, slay the fear. The fears you don't face become your limits. And so it's that get comfortable with being uncomfortable because it means you're growing. So this little image is a homage to Ryu and learning to crochet. Okay, ways to grow. Learning about yourself, learning who you want to be, skills, knowledge, experiences, new things equal growth. So learn new things, try new things, eat new things, do new things. Um, the essential component of all of this is balance. In all things, balance. So as you move through this journey of learning about yourself, just keep in mind balance. It's not about rushing. You don't have to do everything at once. You can't. It's a journey. You change over time. So go with it. So balance taking the time to learn who you are now and then balance growing and learning new things. Balanced diet, balanced schedule, balanced life. No extremes in any direction. Moderation and centered. I love how the plates are just floating in midair. You can have fluctuations. That's normal. Life happens, right? But always check in with yourself and come back to center. As things happen, um, check in with yourself in terms of asking, does this resonate with you? Do you like it? Do you want this to be a part of your life? Based on these answers to the questions, take the appropriate actions. You try something new and you decide you don't like it. That's okay. You tried it. If you do like it, make it part of your life. Learn to cook a new meal, all of that. So this is where balance comes in. Support others, right? So as we grow, others are growing too. This is something I constantly work on, is working on self so I can help others. I don't know if you guys have ever done the Strengths Finders test. It basically ranks like 50 of your strengths in order. It's kind of fun. One of my strengths is relating. I am extremely socially awkward. Of course, being remote is fantastic for me because I don't have to be socially awkward with you guys. It's also just part of me being an introvert. And so I rely heavily on my relating strength to relate to other people and find commonality. The downside of this is I call it a Me Too syndrome, where I'm always trying to share my similar experience or thoughts. And in this attempt to relate, I sometimes come across as a topper or that I'm trying to make it about me. So just now, like now, I'm telling this story. It's not actually about me. This is about you. Is This is about how you need to know yourself so you can help others, right? So I am self-aware of this relating skill, and I need to be mindful of it, of who I am. So you need to be mindful of your strengths and who you are so you can better help others. And in my case, sometimes it's recognizing when to suppress some of these strengths or habits or personality, features, or when to utilize them. to be what you need to be to help the other person. So you need to take care of yourself so that you can then help take care of others, so that we can all support each other and listen to each other and help each other the way they need to be helped, right? So being healthy, being ourself, being self-aware, being self-responsible, and then being amazing people, right? So now what? Well, that's it. This is the end of my little spiel. I hope it inspires you guys. I hope it helps set you on the right path to learning who you are, what you want to do, and what you want, and building the most amazing, fabulous life that you could ever possibly imagine and making it happen. So that's it. Do you guys have questions, comments, concerns? Are you all going to go out and be amazing? Yes, good. All right. That's it, you guys.
Everyone's just speechless.
I know.
I know. Is that a
Dumbfounded.
bad thing or a, or a good thing?